All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the KBN podcast. No live stream tonight, so we're doing a little offline recording of the podcast. We've got a little home cooking going tonight with my Old Town teammate there, Casey Reed. We want to have him on for a while anyway, and then Old Town brand ambassador Ryan Lilly from up at HQ in Maine. So, fellas, thanks for taking the time to jump on here and record this with us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
We got Casey out on the water. It's about to go down on the night fishing. Yeah, so and we got Ryan up there still thawing out in Maine. I know the water's open. It's not iced over anymore because I've seen you on the water. But
yeah. About the crown of Maine's still kind of locked in and has ice in the water, but pretty much the lower central Maine south has been open for the last couple weeks. So we've been getting after it.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, let's get right into it. I mean, I wanted to have you guys on for a while now. Everybody's well aware of the Old Town kind of push over the last couple of years, especially this year with the launch of the new Sportsman line and the autopilot boat in particular. Ryan, you want to touch on how that kind of came to be with the rebrand? Because I know, a lot of the lines in general, the Predator series, the Topwater series, they all had their following, and now it's kind of all fallen under one umbrella. So do you want to get into how that happened and what made that push for this season?
Yeah, for sure. So we've been making a serious effort over the last, really since we launched the Predator line in the late, 2011, 12, 13 is really when that development started. We came out with those first boats and started to get our feet underneath us on delivering a pretty serious fishing craft. We did a really great job of launching, pretty innovative products right out of the gate, but we kind of did our brand a little bit of a disservice because, we set up these little sub-brands, Predator, Topwater, and really Old Town was kind of lost in it. So really the Sportsman launch was a way for us to bring our popular models under one family. So you're shopping one line of kayaks versus having to figure out what the difference is between a Predator and a Topwater and a XYZ, whatever. So really it was kind of a unification, a consolidation, and also an umbrella for our fishing line products. So it kind of reduced the confusion. It made it easier for anglers or prospective customers that are interested in the brand to come in and shop. So really it was driven by a lot of consumer research, and we did our homework, fielding a lot of research out there, online research, focus groups and things like that to kind of figure out our blind spots. All the while, our Skunkworks team and R&D had been working tirelessly, to deliver the Predator pedal, which won the ICAST Best in Show when it launched. And from that point forward, it's like, what can we do now? And with our sister brand Minn Kota in our portfolio, we were able to work collaboratively with the engineers over there to deliver, what now is the Old Town Sportsman autopilot, which is just, you guys know, Casey, you've been fishing exclusively out of it now for a couple of years or a couple months now, and it's changed the game. And so really it's a culmination of us trying to make things simpler, to make the experience easier for a customer to come in and interface with our brand, but also a way for us to have an umbrella for our entire fishing lineup, with that crown jewel being the autopilot. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's really, in a nutshell, 30,000 foot view, what was going on.
Sure, and that makes sense. I know we talked a little bit about that at the Classic, and I want to get into that Classic launch anyway, because with the way things have kind of played out over the spring and summer, that was an awesome opportunity to do that anyway, and kind of unique to launch the product there rather than ICAST. And now with no ICAST, wow, what a stroke of luck to have got that in early like that with what's going on what's going on out there. Now Casey, you've been with the team a while, longer than I have for sure. And the Predator model, the MX on the rivers, even the MK, I guess, for a bit, those have been kind of the staples and what's known as Old Town's solid fishing kayaks for a while, but it was kind of a limited selection. So, you've been a part of watching this thing grow and now kind of culminate with this Sportsman. Now, I know they're not done. You guys got more stuff, I'm sure, coming down the pipe later, but kind of grow to this point. So, how's it been to be a part of that?
Oh man, it's been awesome. I couldn't ask to be part of a better team. Everybody's I mean, Ryan, the whole team, Dan. I mean, they help you out when they can, and it's been a great experience. The Predator line. I mean, that was like one of the first high-end kayaks I got into was the Predator 13, and I mean, I loved them, man. But I just, with this autopilot is really what I was looking for, with a bigger platform, more space. I mean, about all the tackle you can haul on this tank wheel. I've seen your picture.
Heck yeah.
I got the same thing back here. I mean, just I bring everything I can with me, tons of rods. So having this open platform and a lot bigger platform has been great.
Yeah, we need to come out with a Old Town branded double-sized crate to put in the back of that thing with dividers in it.
It's almost a problem how much space is in there, because I have a hard time culling what I bring, and it's a problem.
Oh yeah, I don't. I just cram it all in there.
I know.
Couple crates, coolers, whatever.
I used to, but now it's just I bring everything. So.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And yeah, Ryan, what do you think, or what happened, I guess, over the last couple of years? Because Old Town always had a solid name in the sport. I mean, Old Town's been around forever, but it's kind of seemed, I hate to say satisfied, but there they were with their few fishing kayak brands, and they were just kind of riding along, holding their market share. And then it seems like the last couple of years, I mean, Johnson Outdoors, Old Town has really made a push, innovating, marketing. It's kind of taken off. What happened there?
Well, a few things. I mean, we've been around since 1898. We've been making our products here in Maine for that long, and it's such a cool company. We have several individuals that work for us that are multi-generational manufacturing employees, and so and we started as a sportsman brand. I mean, we were making canoes, and at the turn of the century for sports that would come up from New York City and Boston to experience the Maine wilderness, and so that's really our roots. And so really what we've been doing is kind of returning to where we started, but also, at being a Johnson Outdoors portfolio brand with Humminbird and Minn Kota and Cannon, you've got some powerhouse fishing brands in there, and engineering prowess and investment. And so it just makes sense from a portfolio standpoint to really double down and leverage what we have going with across the other brands. But also it's where the growth has been in the paddle sports segment. It's not in whitewater, it's not in touring kayaks, it's not in recreational kayaks. Right now it's high-end fishing kayaks. And really we made a strategic decision several years ago, before 4 years ago, when we noticed that the market was starting to chase the price point down with cheap entry-level fishing kayaks and recreational kayaks. We made the decision, nope, we're not going to change our ways. We're not going to chase that cheap business. We're going to hold strong on the high end, and that's really kind of why we were slow to launch the Sportsman line and some of the innovation that you see, is because we were going to do it right, and we're going to really invest in the premium and not waste our time, chasing that shiny quick buck at Sam's Club. And so that's really what's gone on for us, is doubling down on our heritage and understanding that we're a sportsman brand, leveraging the brands that we have within our portfolio, and also riding what's hot right now. Right now, fishing is a growing thing, and premium is where it's at.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't mean to say the wrong thing there. Old Town's obviously I've always been a serious player in the outdoor industry with canoes, kayaks, and recreational stuff, but the competitive fishing side of things,
for sure,
it seems like you just said, the last few years it's really ramped up, and all of a sudden you've got all these different choices. From, I hate to say entry level, Topwater is kind of an entry level pedal drive boat, but many guys are choosing those as their primary tournament weapon anyway. So I mean, you've really come in strong, or we. I guess I'm on the team too. I gotta try to be objective here. But also being a brand that we're within a really strong portfolio, and Helen Johnson, our CEO, to her credit, she believes heavily in consumer research and consumer insights. So what you see for products, what you see for what we've done with the Sportsman logo, the Old Town and brand mark and everything, that's not by accident. The naming's not by accident. The colors aren't by accident. The feature set is in these kayaks is not by accident. It has literally been
24 to 36 months of in-depth consumer research to deliver exactly what Casey Reed wants, what Jeff Malott wants, what XYZ angler in California wants. And I've been a part of so many focus groups and research projects just to flesh out not only what you are in right now, Casey, but what we have coming. And the future is bright. And I'm super fired up about our trajectory and the momentum that we have and the timing. I can't believe, we got this thing launched before everything that went down, and that we weren't relying on ICAST as our platform to launch.
Oh man, what a terrible thing our country's going through right now. But what a stroke of luck. Not luck. I mean, it was great planning to have that there at the Classic like that. But it worked out even better.
Well, just like everybody else, it's affecting us. It's we launched it, but we couldn't ship it.
Yeah,
So I mean, everybody's in the same boat, right? No pun intended. That's super unfortunate where we find ourselves as a country. But the one, I guess, good thing is everybody understands, because everybody is affected.
Yeah.
So
I've got a buddy down in Florida that him and his wife ordered two. Right after the Classic, they saw what the deal was. They ordered two to fish the salt down in Pensacola area. And I get a message every week as if I work in the factory or something. Hey, those both shipping.
Well, the good news is, and I can go on record and say, we fired up our production facility a week ago yesterday again. And so we've been shipping and producing boats again. We basically took our time to develop safe protocols and abiding by the state and CDC guidelines, yada, yada. To make sure that when we opened up shop again, that we were doing it right. And so we put people back to work, and we've been shipping boats and trying to retire that backlog that has accumulated. I mean, we have a lot of pent up demand with the Sportsman line. And we're excited to finally, we had some shipped before this whole thing went down, but we're glad to get back at it and really pump them out into the marketplace. So you can let your friend know they're coming.
Yeah, man. I sent him a copy of that email that came out about the production resuming and shipping. So yeah. I think he was happy when he got that. So Casey, you've been fishing out of it. So have I. Now my wife's been in mine, and she says it's hers now. So she's not. I'm gonna have to come up with another one. What do you think so far? And compared to anything you've seen out there, or maybe even used, that's a kayak with a motor integrated, the system like it's set up for the autopilot, compared to the other option of retrofitting with a Minn Kota or whatever kind of motor. What do you see as the advantage of the way ours is set up?
Well, I think the biggest advantage is the way that it can just, if you smack into something really hard with it, you hit a stump, come up on the shoal, it'll pop up and it'll disengage the motor. To me, that's probably the biggest thing. I mean, I've never had a bow mount. I know a lot of guys are putting bow mounts on different kayaks and stuff, but to me, it seems like that could be a huge failure point if you really slam into something going full speed. It's just you got it bolted into plastic. Something's going to give. Yeah. And the way they designed this mount to work, the mount just releases and it pops right up. You think about it, similar to the PDL, how it pops up. Yeah. And all you got to do is click it back down, and you're off again. So yeah. I mean, really, I think that's one of the biggest advantages that I could see from it.
That's the number one question I've gotten is what happens when you hit something, because they're worried about breaking that motor.
Well, good news is, it's backed by that 2-year Minn Kota warranty. And, like you said, Casey, it's been designed around taking an impact and having a series of failure points that will take the brunt of the force. So, yeah, that's exactly right. I couldn't imagine getting stuck out there with something broken on the very tip of your boat. And if I could jump in too, to talk about, we've had a lot of people ask why we didn't make a multi-propulsion or multi-option platform. And I would love your perspective, Casey, but my point of view on it, and I know I've got people that disagree with me on this, but it's hard to design something to do any one thing right. So try to design a platform that does 3 or 4 things right and well. I feel like you have to make compromises in order to have a platform operate, to be a great paddling, to be a great motor platform, and we decided to go all in to make the best experience for a motorized kayak experience versus trying to make one boat do all.
And
I think that's completely true. I mean, nothing's going to be able to do everything great, but if you focus on one thing, you can do it to the best of the ability. So I think that's what Old Town here.
That's what I always tell people, man, when I'm talking to them, Casey, is, hey, there's no perfect boat probably, but find the one that checks all the boxes for what you need, and it's going to be hard to beat this one, especially in the motor realm. And I've been telling people, especially my buddies that are dealers here, that I think the MK is a sleeper. That kind of debuted low key there with the rest of them. I know the Autopilot's kind of the flagship, but that MK is a slick little deal.
$2,499 for a fully motorized package. It's like it's priced really aggressively, and it's super easy, and it's easy to transport, and I think it's going to do volumes. I think the Autopilot's going to do very well, but it's a niche product that's going to appeal to people like Casey, people like Jeff. But I think the 106 Power by Minn Kota will appease some of the tournament people, but it'll also kind of bridge the gap to waterfront homeowners or people that want to get out with their dog, and it's just to be a fun solution that bridges the gap between fishing and rec.
Yeah, it's basically a little neat little paddling kayak too. If you pop the motor out, I mean, it's a nice little 106 paddling deal. So yeah, I think that's a sleeper. If I had the room, I'd like to have one because it was fun to mess with when we got to demo them out. So Ryan, with what's going on, I know you guys, like I said, you're back open. Production is resuming, and you're trying to ship boats as fast as you can, I'm sure. And you guys are made in the USA, obviously, but what kind of supply chain issues have you run into on the business side? Are you getting any products from overseas or even stateside where you can't get them right now? Or is that an issue for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, there are some parts and pieces that are obviously impacted by this deal, but we were able to, we saw the writing on the wall. I mean, this has been like something that's been starting to boil for months, so we were able to kind of react and get ahead of it. And really, we, as businesses that source some parts and pieces overseas, you always have to deal with the Chinese New Year that comes in right after, it's like early February, and they basically shut down for 6 weeks. And so you already have to stock up in order to get through that time when nothing's happening over there. And so we'd already kind of done that, and we saw the writing on the wall with what was happening with COVID-19. And so we were able to kind of stock up even more. And then we understood that we were going to have some pent up demand with some of these newer boats. And so we set ourselves up in a pretty good situation to kind of weather it. But I mean, there's still impacts, particularly when you talk about cut and sew, like PFDs and things like that. So it's definitely impacting parts of us, but because we had to prep for Chinese New Year and because we saw the writing on the wall, we were able to kind of pivot and work around it as best as we could.
Yeah. And I know you're talking about pent-up demand. I don't know about in your area, Casey, or maybe up where you're at, Ryan, but here, I've never seen more people at the boat ramps trying to fish and get out and do stuff than right now because they can't do anything else. And with stem checks coming in, I actually had a guy, I went to the lake with my wife Sunday, and had a guy, when I backed the Malone trailer down, asked me if that was a COVID trailer. And I don't know if he meant I bought it with a stimulus check or what what he meant by that. I just kind of was like, nah, man, I already had that one. But, people are doing that. They're taking their time off, and if they have some extra money or if they're still working and got one of those checks, they're going out and buying outdoor gear, fishing rods or maybe a kayak or whatever. So the demand's there as long as you can get the products.
Yeah, it's been the same here. I mean, every boat ramp that I've been to has been packed. Like the ramp I just put in at, it's got a huge overflow lot. And I've seen maybe people parking in it once or twice to where, it was enough trailers in the parking lot that needed to go to the overflow lot. And today, I mean, there was 15, 20 boats back there in the overflow lot. So, and I got here late, so I'm sure it was rocking today.
Yeah, that's wild.
I live in Maine, so we don't have those issues. It's so weird. So midsummer, July, when people are up here on vacation, we have some of that happen, but it is so sparsely populated up here that we really don't. doesn't really
Well, that's
seem
good.
any different.
That's
Yeah.
good. It's wild. Right? When I backed the trailer down the other day, I had to have Ashley run up and stand in a parking spot so I could park the thing when I was done.
Wow. Crazy.
But that's all right. It's good to see people outdoors and and enjoying the good weather and not just sitting at home feeling bad about what's going on. So
Yeah.
make something good out of all this if you can. Get outside. So Casey, you're out there fishing. I don't know if you're in an online tournament, but that's kind of all the rage right now. Online tournaments nationally or regionally have kind of made it, I hate to say make a comeback. They've been around for a bit, but they've really blown up over the last month just because there's nothing else to do. There's been some new kind of stuff come out. Casey, you've been on the 5 Live. There's been some Old Town guys on there. Kayak Bass Bracket. So, where do you see tournaments going over the next few months? You think we're going to get back to some live stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I sure hope so, man. I mean, I think in the next 2 months, I'd say they'll start rescheduling some tournaments. I hope. I don't know if that's wishful thinking or what, but that would be my guess as far as like having live tournaments. I still think you're gonna have. I don't think you're gonna have much of get-togethers at the end.
Yeah.
You might have something where you go check in and then leave. But I still think there's going to be a while for that. But yeah, as far as like rescheduling these big events that have been canceled, I think they'll start scheduling them again. But it's going to be different for a while, I think.
Is your local? Do you have a local club still having anything? Any live?
So I think for all of our events, we had one this weekend, but I went ahead and just canceled it. I just don't want to make people or encourage people to travel unnecessarily right now. I'm still doing a lot of fishing. I'm personally not that worried about it, but I don't want to be the factor to make somebody, want to travel across the state to come to an event.
Sure.
And then have somebody get sick from that travel. So that's why I just went ahead and canceled our events. And I think pretty much everybody else, all the other clubs in the state have kind of done the same. Some of them have moved to online events. Some of them already did, monthly online events anyways. So that's kind of where we're at. Everybody's just fishing these monthlies and the brackets that have popped up and stuff like that.
Yeah. Did you get in that KBBT bracket thing? Are you in that?
I did, man. I thought about it, but it's a lot of. I mean, I'd probably be fishing anyways, but I don't know that I can guarantee I'd fish every single weekend, like for a month or however long it takes. It's a cool thing though, man. I've been watching a lot of people fishing it, and it seems like a lot of fun.
I skipped the first one, then they expanded the field for the second one to 128, and I said, "Dang it, Greg, I got to do it now." So I jumped in there, even though I'm like you. There's a few dates I don't think I could be able to fish, but I'm going to do it just to do it the first weekend and see what I can do against. Hopefully, not a Florida angler. We'll see.
Some upsets from what I hear. A lot of people.
Siddiqui got bounced. Brad Chase got bounced. There's some big hitters out there. They got taken out pretty early. A few of the Texas guys got taken out. Our boy Pendergraph got taken out early. So, yeah, it's fun to watch, something to do. Here locally, we're still having tournaments. The guy that kind of took over for me running the local club, but we're doing it basically virtual. All of our tournaments are within an hour anyway, so no one really has to travel, but we're doing it all virtual. The Corps has pulled our permits, so we can't have it on one lake, so it's just road runners to any public water in the area besides that lake. So we're making it happen, but I've seen people around the country doing the same thing. Just have to make adjustments.
Yeah, and I mean, I think some great things have came out of it. I mean, not to say the brackets thing has never been done before, but I mean, that's nothing on quite that scale. So I mean, that's awesome. I mean, that's fun stuff that people can do, all year long, even when we're fishing tournaments. I think that's here to stay. Yeah. And then the 5 Live kind of deal. I mean, I'd love to see where that kind of goes in the future as far as, just fishing live stream fishing, against the 5 other anglers, man. I mean, I think that was pretty awesome. And I think it has a lot of room to grow as well. So there's some things that can be changed and, but I think that's here to stay as well. And I mean, I honestly believe that nobody had thought of it or done it before, because I mean it's a great idea.
Well, let me jump in on you, Casey. I live streamed our state championship last year.
Did you?
Low key, nobody knew about it. No, but actually, not our state championship, our local classic. We had people out. We had camera boats out, and we were doing that, but it was horrible. Beaver Lake is very. You've been to Beaver Lake.
Yeah.
It's very mountainous, so to say the signal was choppy was an understatement. But we tried.
Yeah, I mean that's the struggle with everything. I mean, all these guys fishing the 5 Live are I think I know a lot of people are struggling to find a good lake with surf. A lot of lakes around the country are just out nowhere, and in mountainous areas they just don't have service.
Do you know Cody Prather? You ever visited with Cody? He's a kayak angler, but he's a cameraman for Major League Fishing as well. And we talked one night about that's how MLF is. They don't choose lakes anymore based on the legendary status of the lake. They're choosing it based on cell signal, which is
crazy.
Which is bizarre. I mean, they're still trying to get big name lakes like Lake Fork and whatever, but they're having to cancel other ones such as Bull Shoals up here and other lakes because they can't get a signal. And their whole game is live stream. I mean, especially Major League Fishing, their whole marketing plan is live stream. They don't even have a weigh-in really. So maybe we'll get down the road to something like that. I know it takes a lot of money and a lot of high-tech equipment, but it's cool to see. I think Paddle and Fin's even trying to do some stuff, kind of like Five Live did. They're doing some live streaming.
Yeah, I think they're doing a bracket thing too as well. They're doing the bracket. So yeah, I mean it's cool to see the things that have came out of it, during these tough times. But I think it's done nothing but help us grow as a sport and help us move to the next level.
Absolutely.
I just got a text here saying that they have postponed Chickamauga until November, it looks like. The Bass Nation Chickamauga. Do y'all know about that?
Okay. I was actually waiting to hear back on what was going on there, so good to know.
We'll see if this is accurate info because you never know what these DMs and texts you get. But breaking news. Chickamauga looks like it's postponed.
Good to know.
Yeah, man. So talking about tournaments a little more, and Ryan, you can chime in here too, as far as from the brand perspective. Is there still a place in these tournaments for just a paddler to jump in there and compete? It seems like it's pedal or motor or nothing almost anymore from just a few years ago.
I think go ahead, Casey.
I think there will always be something available for paddlers. I mean, whether the local clubs, there's a lot of small local clubs, that keep people getting into the sport. That you're always going to have those lower end, paddle, or not all lower end, but the people that don't want the motors or don't want the pedals or just the lower end kayaks, and there'll all be something available for that. But as far as like the national series events, I mean, not to say somebody can't go out and paddle and win some events, but I mean, you're not going to see a lot of them. It's having pedals, having the motor, you can just do so much more. You can cover so much more water and fish hands free. I mean, we're in a sport of fishing. You're not paddling, so that's where it's going to go. You can spend more time making those casts.
And I've been in the camp for a long time. This is one of the reasons, and I'm still in that camp pretty much. But the older I get, the less I'll argue this point. But kayak fishing is unique because we use the same electronics for fishing rods, everything else that a guy in a bass boat uses. But we also have always used physical power to move our boats from one end of the lake to the other, which kind of made it more of a sport because fatigue was a factor, and you're going against the wind or the current or whatever it may be. But I honestly used to play a lot of golf, and I say, hey, when golf started allowing graphite shafts and giant 360cc head drivers, I did not use them. If the tools are allowed and they're out there, I'm going to use the best one I can get my hands on. And now that motors are allowed, I never really found one that would outperform my PDL. But, man, with the spot lock and the autopilot and fishing offshore this summer, I can't imagine how that's going to change things for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it happens in every other sport. Like, I think golf was a good analogy, is the equipment gets better. things progress, the industry adapts and adopts. I think there'll always be the purists that will want to paddle, or there'll be some physical limitation. I can't remember the guy's name that I met him at Bassmaster. He's one of the competitive anglers that he has. I think maybe he's an amputee and he has to paddle, or there's some shoulder issue he has, so he has to paddle in order to keep it moving. So I think there'll be some unique situations like that will require someone to paddle. But even the people that are running paddle boats are affixing motors to them, and I think the paddle purist is a shrinking market and a niche that will always exist. But I think people are going to adopt the tech. They're going to try to stay competitive, especially as some of these prize purses increase and tournaments become more prolific. I think it's just the nature of the game.
Yeah, capitalism, baby, the machine.
Yeah.
Now there are a few out there. I always give my guy Guillermo Gonzalez a shout out because he does damage out of his Diablo down in Texas still. But even he straps a little, I think it's a Minn Kota on the side and rock and rolls when he's allowed to use it. So.
Yeah.
So, the rest of the year, we don't know what the tournament situation is going to hold. I mean, Casey, are you planning on just kind of wait and see mode? Are you planning on hitting all these huge tournaments as they come up this fall, or are you going to have to pick and choose?
I mean, we'll see what kind of gets rescheduled, and I have a feeling stuff's going to start getting rescheduled and scheduled on top of each other. So it may be a pick and choose thing, but hopefully the schedule that's set for later in the year, hopefully all that's going to be good. And yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to hit as much as I can, pack it all in, and saved a few vacation days, over the past month from not traveling to some events. So we'll have a little bit extra stacked up towards the end of the year.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a wild finish to the year if things work out like we hope they do. I mean, there's a lot of state championships, the national championship, the tournament of champions. Sounds like maybe a BASS event's getting pushed off into the fall. Maybe only more than one will get pushed off into the fall. So it's going to be wild to see how that shakes out and see where we can go compete.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot going on. That's for sure. So.
Yeah, man. Well, Ryan, I know you kind of got tournaments booming up your way. I know Dan said he was going to jump in a few of the Maine kayak angler deals. Are you going to do that this year?
I passed on doing it this year just because with everything going on with the launch and some family stuff on my end, I was trying to limit my weekends being away from the family with all the travel I have. So I actually passed on it this year, but I'm kind of thinking I might try to get into it now that we've got some of these online options and I'm working from home until further notice. It's like, why the hell not? So I might,
you might as well
try to jump into my first tournament. I've never fished a tournament. I'd love to get in on that. So you might see me. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Before we get out of here, I meant to mention this earlier. What made you decide, Ryan? I'm sure it was a team decision. I thought the launch of the Sportsman at the Classic, I had never seen a kayak launch basically at a tournament. I mean, you had the live deal at the boat ramp, and had a few of us yahoos on there saying a few things and taking off on the water. That was a very, very unique and very cool launch. How'd you guys come up with that?
So it's really easy to get lost in the noise at ICAST, and the cadence of product launch within the fishing industry and our paddle kind of niche within the industry is usually companies announce or launch something at ICAST and doesn't ship to January. Right. And it's kind of frustrating as a brand because you spend all this money to make an initial push at ICAST and it's just not going to be available right away. So then you have to spend a lot of money to relaunch it essentially when it's ready to ship. And so back, writing the marketing plan this time last year for 2020, we were just looking for a way to make a splash and to really give this product line, in particular our newer products within that line, the Minn Kota and the Autopilot, just a really awesome launch platform. And we thought, let's unveil the product when it's actually ready to ship, and let's find a place to do it where it makes sense. And so it just so happened that we could line it up with Bassmaster, and it seemed like the perfect opportunity. I'd been talking to Bass kind of behind closed doors for a while about encouraging them to get into the kayak tournament thing, and we wanted to be early adopters of it and an early sponsor. And so really there's a lot of things that the stars kind of aligned, but it was always in our plan to launch it in spring when the product was ready, rather than tease everybody and then have to re-announce it again when it was ready to ship. And I think the industry's kind of sick of that, and it was exciting for us to unveil it, make a big splash with our team, really put the stamp on this is a tournament ready platform, and really make that statement with our team on the shores of the lake when we launched. And it was just fun. But we've been planning that for a time. It wasn't by accident. It was a lot of work, a huge team lift on our part. We're still beaming with joy. I mean, it sucks that COVID came in and kind of took everybody out at the knees, but we're still really proud of what we pulled off, and really glad that we have all this momentum. So when we get everything back up and the economy's, charging forward again, Old Town's be top of mind.
Yeah, and that it had a very TV show feel to it, like ESPN sports show kind of feel. Yeah. It was very cool. It was fun, even though it was cold and wet out there that morning. I just thought it was awesome. I was thrilled to be a part of being there. I mean, I don't know about you, Casey, but I thought it was too cool and a lot of fun.
Oh man, it was unbelievable. I mean, to be a part of that, the launch, and I mean the live stream, it was freaking awesome. I mean, you felt like, you're sitting there getting interviewed before tournament morning. I mean, that's like what a lot of people dream about, making it to the. It felt like we were in the big leagues, Yeah. That's really.
Yeah. You are.
And we are.
You guys are, and it's freaking awesome. And then I think we definitely made a statement in the industry. If Old Town wasn't on the map before, we're definitely on the map now. We have the product to back it up. We have one of the best pro staff teams in the industry, and so we've got some incredible momentum, and it's with a lot of help from you guys. So we're in good position for sure.
Hey, how about the cherry on top with Jim Davis winning that tournament with the old dirty red PDO?
Dude, you could script that better.
That was too funny.
So. It's his signature, right? Like, he only fishes out of red kayaks. We actually have a custom red autopilot shipping to him as a congratulations gift.
That's awesome.
So we were all fired up, and so we decided we would bless him with a brand new autopilot and one of a kind black cherry. So
that's awesome. That's gonna be too cool.
Now we couldn't have scripted that better. Yeah.
I guess it would have been looked rigged if somebody with a new Sportsman would have rolled up there with a brand new shiny Sportsman Minn No, but it was awesome to see, and I thought, tip of the cap to Bass. I thought they put on a great show. I thought Steve Owens did a great job running the tournament over there. I mean, what a fun time that was, and I'm sure they're going to continue to roll with that series. So a lot of options out there, and I know there's a lot of things that we're going to have to wait and see on this summer and fall, but good times to be involved in this sport, even though it's still kind of on the come up. It's, things are happening, and it's a lot of fun right now.
Absolutely.
Casey, before we go, do you think you could sling that topwater and catch one, or at least attempt to?
Oh man, I'm sitting out in the middle right now, but I bet I could over to the bank.
All right. We won't make you do that then. I thought that'd be a way to end the show like nobody's business, man. No. But guys, we'll wrap this thing up and get y'all out of here. Like I said, I appreciate you taking the time tonight. It's always fun to talk about the brand I love, Old Town, and have you guys on here with, like I said, a little home cooking show. We can visit a little bit and talk about what's been going on. So I appreciate y'all taking the time away this evening. I know you're all, especially you, Ryan, busy trying to get caught up with things now that you're reopened, and Casey, you're obviously trying to smash some fish tonight. So thanks again.
Hey, thank you for having me on.
I just want to throw one thing out there. There's they're doing a benefit tournament for one of the Old Town pro staff, Kwanzaa Henderson. It's kind of like a multi-species type tournament, online event. I think it's like a week long. I just like to encourage people to kind of go out and sign up for that. And, it's 3 bass, like 1 bluegill, and then one other, other species. And they have a whole list that you can choose from for that other species. So, I just like.
If you search for Kwanzaa Henderson online benefit tournament on Facebook, you will find information on that event. and help that guy out. He's in a tough spot right now, and he's one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet, and one of the best fishermen I've ever been around. And I know he would appreciate the support. And what a unique, platform. What a unique tournament to have that multi-species element to it. So it'd be fun.
Yeah,
and we're
awesome.
giving away a kayak wins.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's Florida Bass Paddlers, I think, is putting that on. It's over. I think it's over on Tourney X, isn't it? Are they hosting on Tourney X? So go find that on Tourney X. Help out our teammate and fellow kayak angler out there, Kwanzaa. I know he's fighting the fight right now, and any help would be appreciated. Even if you can't fish, sign up, get that entry fee in there. But once again, guys, I appreciate you. If you're listening to this on the audio podcast later, help us out on iTunes and give us a review. But we appreciate you, and hopefully we'll be back live next week. And once again, thanks, guys, and we are out of here.